And welcome back, everyone, to the Morning Buzz here on WMSC 90.3 FM. And we have a very, very, very special guest that I'm very excited for you guys to listen to. We have Sandy Sharp, Director of Strategic Partnerships and Initiatives for NBCU Academy. How are you doing, Sandy, this morning?
Good morning, Zaya. I am doing so well. Thank you for having me on, and it's so good to be here.
The honor is truly ours, and we're going to jump in right with our first question. Can you please tell us a little bit more about what exactly NBCU Academy is?
Absolutely. NBCU Academy was born out of an initiative by our chairman, Cesar Conde. It was his 50-50 challenge to make sure that we had representation across not only our newsroom, but our entire industry, with 50% women and 50% people of color. And it really is the cornerstone of what we do. And so NBCU Academy, as part of that initiative, we just ensure that rising journalists and content creators have access and exposure at the network level just to jumpstart and propel their career. Last year, we launched the program with 17 academic partners across the country. And this year, we added 13 new programs, including the illustrious Montclair State University.
Hey. Shout out to the Red Hawks, everyone. So now that you added all those extra schools, I was wondering what goes into the process of partnering up with a school?
Well, we really look at, there's really two waves of this. So last year we wanted to find schools that were underrepresented or schools that serve underrepresented communities. And we issued $6.5 million of funding with 50% going directly to students. And we also established NBCUacademy.com and launched Original Voices, a fellowship program with NBC News Studios. So we did all that so that we could have programming and opportunities for these schools. So if a school either, again, served an underrepresented population or was an underrepresented population that we felt could benefit from those portfolio items that we had to offer, then we identified them. How we scaled this year is we introduced STEM programs into the Academy. We realized that the content consumption will change over the years. So before, it was way before your time. You turn on the television, you had 3 stations to choose from. And then at midnight, a flag would come on. And then you would go to sleep, and that was it until the next morning. That was 70s, even probably early 80s. Then came cable. And then now we're looking at our phone and our watches at some point to get, so we know that's going to change. So really exploring the intersection of media technology, we identified 3 engineering programs. So we look for engineering programs that maybe had an appetite to not only explore the technology side, but also the engineering side of media and technology.
Awesome. So, growing up, a lot of times, especially for me, there was a lack of representation in pretty much everything. Like, you really have to search for it. And now, as the United States continues to grow and the whole world continues to grow, you're starting to see and hear different stories from different perspectives. And that's the one thing I loved hearing about NBCU Academy, is that it's really promoting diversity. And I was wondering, could you go into more detail on how exactly that is being done?
You know what, I think the first thing you have to look at, but when you look at a program and you look at some of the initiatives, really take a deep dive into who is doing the programming. So if you start with the top of our company and you look at how NBCU has grown in diversity, I think that's why we're able to do that at the campus level. We have Cesar Conde, we have Yvette Miley, we have Rashida Jones. If you look at our content, we've hired more people of color on air and also behind the scenes. We've promoted over 20 diverse executives, including Hispanics, Blacks, Asian American, Pacific Islanders, among others. We are very, very keen into not only your race or your ethnicity, but your gender preference, your sexual preference. So it's more for us, diversity is more than color, it's more about the person. Cesar Conde is the first ever highest ranking Latino run a major English network. And so it is so great to have someone with that background that understand what it means to be a person of color, what it means to come from a diverse population. And so it cascades through our organization. And so for our students, we realize that maybe they don't have the foot in the door, or maybe they weren't born on third base. So we're happy not only to provide opportunities, but once they join the NBCU family or take part in NBCU Academy driven programs, you are literally confronted with people who get you. I just spent 45 minutes this morning. I started my day speaking with a young lady at one of our partner schools for 45 minutes. I put her on my schedule. She wants to be a sports broadcaster. I spent 15 years as a sports broadcaster. And the first thing I said is, I wish there was a Sandy for me that would walk me through my resume, walk me through my reel, help me with my enunciation, help me slow down, give me all those little tricks of the trade to move me forward. And I really think that's what differentiates us from other networks. You are not going to find a manager and executive that gives you 45 minutes on a cold email to walk you through how to ramp up your skills. So really starting from the top, it really cascades to the classroom.
That's amazing. And I'm sure that was a fantastic conversation for her and so helpful for her to really get that. I'm sure.
She was very smart, Zaya. She was smart. She says, I really appreciate this. Can we do this again bi-monthly? I go, now, I can't do this twice a month, but I can certainly, let's get on my schedule, every month. So every month she and I will meet for 20 minutes just to do a check-in. So I really encourage your students, yourself, your listeners, that if you find a mentor, you find someone that is willing to take time, don't make it a one-off or a transactional interaction. Make sure you cultivate that relationship.
Absolutely. Thank you. NBCU Academy is something that can prepare students and people just trying to get into the door of broadcast media. How exactly is that preparing them?
In terms of our programming, we do a couple of things. One is we have guest speakers that will come to your classroom. So oftentimes we'll have faculty contact us because they want a speaker that has an expertise in a certain area. Another thing is we are launching an online platform akin to Blackboard or Canvas. I'm not sure what you use on campus. And we'll have curriculum that rising journalists or early career journalists can use as supplemental resources to their education. We're thrilled that Montclair State is helping us develop the Spanish journalism portion of that. So that's another way, speakers in the classroom, upskilling with curriculum online. And then we have amazing programs. We're launching our first NBCU Academy Next Level Summit. It's April 5th. Please make sure you register and you have your listeners as well as your colleagues register. This is an opportunity to hear from executives. I believe this is going to be the first time ever in our network history that we have our leaders across our businesses. So you'll hear from Noah Oppenheim, you'll hear from Cesar Conde, Rashida Jones of MSNBC, and Mark Hoffman of CNBC. These are heavy-hitting executives that are sharing their time. It'll be moderated by some of our talent. We also have breakout rooms. So we do these really large-scale, robust events that people can tap into. Then we'll do something a little bit more intimate. Hopefully you joined us last Tuesday with Craig Melvin, who hosted our Senior Night Live. So we had Craig Melvin join us for Senior Night Live. We have 6 embeds that are part of our program, which I'll get to. They moderated the discussion. So we are very cognizant that everyone is at a different place in their maturation and their understanding of what they want to do in their career. So we really try to provide a nice mix and a diverse group of ways in which we interact externally.
Wow, that's actually incredible. And, you just mentioned the Next Level Summit. So I was wondering, what was the thought process in creating something like that?
We thought literally, and this has moved very fast. This was not on our radar. We thought that as we go into conventions. There are people who can't afford to go to conventions. There are people who want to go to conventions and can't afford it, but have other obligations. There are people who want to go, can't afford it, but they may be apprehensive about gathering because of COVID. So we thought, let's put together a power-packed event that can be a kind of tune-up for the convention. And instead of having it be kind of myopic and monolithic, let's make it very diverse, very robust, and allow people at different stages of their careers to benefit. And I really think we hit a home run with it.
I'm excited for it. I'm definitely going to be tuning in into that event. I'm very, thrilled that it's happening as well. Going on to my next question. I think it's very helpful, because you're a professional in the career. You've done tons of things throughout your career as well. And I think it's helpful for people to truly understand like the process of getting to where a position you are at. So could you walk me through, I guess, like a very quick version, however time you have left, of your journey that led you to becoming the Director of Strategic Partnership and Initiatives for NBCU Academy?
Yeah, the first thing that I always tell people is that your career is not linear. It's a very, very noisy scatter plot. There will be ebbs and flows, ups and downs, and twists and turns. So really brace yourself to be nimble and to be agile. Because oftentimes if we don't go from A to B, we think that we need to start all over or we need to get off course. But sometimes you may go A, B, C, D, back to B, then to Z, and just really being nimble. For me, to land in this position is nothing short of amazing. It is a culmination of my passion, my skill sets, and my gift. I started my career as a sports broadcaster for 17 years. I took an off ramp to start my family. During that time, I got an MBA and became a certified executive coach and also taught in college. So I was able to get my son to third grade with me working for myself. So I didn't miss anything, but also I was building skills in other areas. So in addition to being flexible, make sure there are very, very few people who can do the same thing for 30, 40 years. So make sure you have other skills that you developed. And that's what I did for, 8 to 10 years while I was out of television. So when NBCU Academy launched, there was a need for someone who understood journalism, who understood the television industry, and who could navigate a campus and deal with students. So that's almost like a unicorn. So it really is a culmination of everything that I've done, because I spent a great deal of time doing professional development and coaching in the college space prior to coming here. So I would just say, make sure that you embrace the ebbs and flows of life and don't be so rigid, but be focused. And I think the last thing, you've all heard it, your parents have told you, your grandparents have told you, it won't ever change. Nothing beats hard work. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the most eloquent. You don't have to be the most well-spoken. But if you work hard, that means making every minute of your day count and being intentional. Get up early, stay up late, honing your craft. You will be successful.
Wow. Hard work over talent any day. I'll take it over here as well. Final question is, lastly, I know it's kind of similar to the last question in a sense, but a lot of times when people are in like the scenario that I'm in, there's a lot of students that are like me as well, where, they're getting towards the end of their college career and, they're starting to wonder where their career is going to go, after college. So what advice would you give to students in that transitional period where, the story in college is ending and their professional career is beginning?
Don't worry. Don't stress over it. Don't overthink it. It's a stage in life. It's actually one of the best stages in life. Coming from college to the workforce is one of the best stages in life. And sometimes we just make it stressful. I made it stressful. But if you think about it, a person allegedly retires at 65. And if you're Warren Buffett or my dad, you're not retiring that early. So if you think about someone who may retire at 70, that means you literally have almost 50 years of real estate in front of you. So why stress out on the front end when life is going to make you stress out in your 30s and 40s because of maybe family, because of maybe other responsibilities? So I would really say, instead of worrying, use this time to embrace the uncertainty and be adventurous. So if you think I want to be a producer, great. If there's not a producing opportunity, that's okay. If you're really passionate about, let's just say, dealing with elderly people or stories regarding elderly population, go volunteer at a place for senior citizens while you're looking for your gig. So just be very creative and exploratory, but also build your network of people. If there are faculty members or professionals that have shown interest in helping you navigate, make sure that those relationships are transformational and not transactional. Check in with them, get an update from them, how they're doing, what should you be reading, who should you be listening to, and being intentional. But to try to carve out a career path at this stage in the game will be very, very stressful, because nothing will ever go as you plan for it to go.
Well, I'm going to take that advice, and hopefully that will help me out as I transition eventually out of this campus into the real world. And we cannot thank you enough, Sandy Sharp, Director of Strategic Partnerships and Initiatives for NBCU Academy. And you can catch the Next Level Summit April 5th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for everything that we talked about here on this little interview. Once again, thank you very much, Sandy.
Thank you so much for having me. And before I let you go, I do want to have you and your colleagues keep an eye out for our Embed program. It's a 2-year program for recent graduates. So if you're one of those people who you're not sure what you're going to do, there will be opportunities to join NBCU Academy and other parts of our business as an NBCU Embed. NBCU Academy Embed. So keep an eye out for that. We hope to launch those applications here in the upcoming weeks.
Absolutely. Thank you again, and back to you guys in the studio.